Hi, this is Christine Beckwith coming to you from the MBA Annual Convention in Washington, D.C. I could not be more honored to have Marcia Davies, COO of the MBA and founder of mPower here with us, which is near and dear to my heart, for an episode of the new Power Women with Class, sponsored by Class Appraisal. So, Marcia, thank you so much for coming and honoring our show and being here today so that I can ask you a whole bunch of questions that everybody wants to know.
I'm so happy to be here, Christine. As you know, we met through the mPower community, so I am so excited to spend a little time with you.
And you have done so much for our community of women. You know, I idolize you. When I get asked who my mentor is, you're one of the people that I always name because you've done so much and carved a path for us. It's been unbelievable. I know, you picked my safety book up. You've highlighted that. That's been great for women. And that's just to name one thing of so many things that you've done for all women. So thank you for that. On behalf, I'm speaking for everybody in our industry when I say that. I want to get personal for a moment. And I know that's what these guys want.
All right,
so
we're going to
go back to the beginning of when Marcia's entering the mortgage field, and I want you to tell the audience members what it is that year was like. What was going on in Marcia's world?
So, like most people, I ended up in the mortgage industry accidentally.
Yep.
But I did it at a time in my life where I walked out of the job I was on because my female boss, who went in demanding pay equity and the title for the job that she had been doing for the past year, was let go. And I realized at the young age of 25, the reason they felt comfortable letting my boss go was because they knew I was there to pick up the pieces, because it was 2 weeks before their midwinter conference.
Wow.
And I realized I didn't want to work for an organization
like that.
So also my 25-year-old self just marched in, resigned, didn't have a job.
So you
realized that on the way home that I might have needed to think that through a little bit, but I knew it was an integrity call.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm not going to say as luck would have it, as the universe provided.
Yes.
My sister worked at a company called the Mortgage Corporation.
Okay.
And her very good friend worked in public affairs and had just left the department in industry relations that she was working in. And my sister said, well, they need somebody to market this company at industry conventions, and you have all that experience. So I went in, I interviewed, and got the job. And then that company rebranded as this little company called Freddie Mac.
Yes. Yeah, the little company.
Yes. And I spent 21 years there, and so you never know how life is going to turn out, but that's how I ended up in this industry.
And I'm not at all surprised. I've been talking to so many women doing this show now about how they started, and so many women have answered like the difficulties of getting that first job, being turned away. Sarah Valentini talked about being denied a loan officer job, and quite frankly being told, this was 30 years ago, that they didn't hire women loan officers. So just a really interesting, obviously you were fearless then, you still are. It takes that, you have to have that tenacity, and no surprises that you're in the car saying, oh my God, what did I just do? Because I think when we take those jumps and we do those fearless things, that's what's happening behind the scenes in our heads, is like, wow, I just did that. Right. But we have to do that. So looking back,
Can I just interject? And I think it's an important point. So the woman who is my boss, who is one of my referent leaders because of the way she conducted herself. That was, when I left, it was 1984.
Okay.
So now they can do the math and they know how old I am.
I know. I hate that part.
But it was 1984, and we are still friends today.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was meaningful.
It was meaningful. Mm-hmm. We made a connection, and we still keep in touch, and it's great.
That's right. I have those leaders too, that mark you in your career, that were pivotal in getting a foothold, as we say, to the next place that we're going. So when you look back at that now, if you, knowing what you know now, and you had to give advice to that young Marcia, what would you be saying to her? What would you tell her?
I would say that you never compromise your integrity. Always do what's right. But the thing that I've done wherever I am, no matter what seat I am, you really need to work hard, and not just work hard to prove that you're a hard worker. You need to deliver results.
Right.
And I am very results oriented, I'm driven, and I have high expectations of myself, and I guess my team would tell you I have high expectations of them. I would also say, worry about yourself. Don't worry about those around you. I had to learn when I first started out at Freddie Mac, and it was much bigger than the association that I had left, and now I'm in this corporation, and there were a lot of women and men around me about my age, and as I watched, if they moved on, moved up, moved over, whatever, and I hadn't moved yet, instead of me looking inside myself in the beginning, I'd say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, how'd this happen?
And so I had to learn just to worry about my career, my results, and the rest of it, you take charge of making sure your results are known. You can't expect somebody to come over and tap your shoulder and say, you've been doing a great job.
Yeah.
You need to make sure, not only does your work speak for itself, but you have to be the champion of yourself within the organization.
It's so important. There's so much meat on that. I want to stop for a minute and summarize to everybody that's watching right now. You know, what Marcia is highlighting can't be understated, because what we're talking about, you know, so many times, you know, I feel like we have to say results. You know, you're talking about work ethic and you're talking about results, but I don't want to brush over those two things. You know, in order for me to get where I am right now, seated here with you, I had to deliver winning sales over a 30-year career where I was winning at the top 2 and 5% of sales. I competed, and I knew somehow innately and through some mentorship that if I was going to win a trophy and I was going to be the one of 180 salespeople or the one of 12 districts, that then I had that credibility, and that made me more able to be confident in defending why I was there. No one can take that away from me, right? They can't take that away from anybody once they have that. So, and work ethic. I mean, I just think, you know, it's going to beat all competition. The combination's lethal. You clearly have it in droves. I don't think you sleep. People think I don't sleep. I know we do. But somewhere in the middle of everything.
Not much lately, but yes.
I know, and I feel the same way of everything going on. So now shifting totally opposite, you know, you're a mentor, you're doing all these things. Let's talk about, we got here because we had some unbelievable mentors along the way. And so tell me, who's your mentor? Who are your mentor?
So I had the privilege of working for a boss at Freddie Mac. He was in charge of external relations. And at the time, I was running all of their external marketing for their presence at all different events and things. And in the midst of what was a very critical time at Freddie Mac, it was in the early 90s, he took me out to lunch and said, I want you to completely leave your role and come over and run public relations.
Huge.
And I said to him, I'm not a journalist. I didn't go to school to do that. And he said, look, you've got a good team. I can teach you the difference between a good press release and a bad press release, but what I need is a leader.
Yes.
I need somebody with
awesome
instincts.
Compliment.
I need somebody who can motivate a team. I need somebody who knows the difference between a good communication and a bad communication, which is different than how to technically write a good document, right? You can read something and say, yeah, this, but is it the right time, right? Somebody who knows the strategy. So I'm going to give him a shout out. His name is Dan Driscoll, and he changed my life because giving me that opportunity, he had to convince me because it was the first time I got out of my comfort zone because I was very technical in the role, and I was good at it, and I knew it, and I could do it, you know, with my eyes closed.
Sure.
He wanted me to actually leave being technical in something and be a leader. And it literally, without him mentoring me and helping me through it and telling me he'd be there for me, I think that's what a mentor does. He took a chance on me and changed my life.
It's a great story, and it's an amazing story because, you know, I have this quote that I carried around with me from Muhammad Ali, and I've had it, I literally have carried this picture frame around with me for 30 years, put it up in all my offices, and it talks about the difference between will and skill. And, you know, everybody you can train to skill jobs. You can learn the tactical matter of any job. But when you have will, when you have the fight, when you have the desire to lead, people will follow you. That type of tenacity is tenacity that can only be seen by great people that are willing to empower those that have it and give them a role. And I don't care what you know about the tactical matter, but I know you've got it, and you have it. There's clearly you have it. And you know, that's an awesome segue for us to talk about what you've done in the MBA. That's really unbelievable, and it's face-changing for the entire mortgage banking industry. It could not be more timely and brave and profound, and it's building momentum, and that is Marcia's contributions to mPower. So if you are not currently a member of mPower, and this is, I'm just going to give a shameless plug, you know, I became a member of mPower. I encourage the women in my organization to become members of mPower. And I want you to tell everybody, what is mPower, what does it represent, and why should women in our industry become involved?
Thank you so much. mPower is what inspires and motivates me. So mPower is MBA's effort, and it stands for Promoting Opportunities for Women to Extend Their Reach. And what started out as an idea that I had for women to connect with one another. I've been in this industry 30 some years, and I noticed a lot of times I was the only woman in a room, in a meeting. And when I'd go to conferences, you wouldn't see as many women, and when you did, they didn't seem to know one another. And so it started before we officially branded mPower. I had been doing this for a year at MBA. And what we would do is have networking events. So the original concept was to get women together, get to know each other like you and I. Now we know each other, and we exchange information and we support one another. But it's grown into so much more. This year alone, we've touched over 5,000 women. And now we have free webinars and do a video series, and we have an online community where we share information and post articles and make sure that women can also connect with one another confidentially. If I want to speak just to you, I can do it through the network.
And I've seen you have a voice in that community. Just so you know, I've seen Marcia personally address the community. Someone writes something in our weekly blog, and she personally will respond to that out loud. She will say what needs to be said. You know, it's so hard to reach leaders that are at high levels. Sometimes you get into those positions. We now have thousands of people we're trying to answer. You are personally answering those community letters. I mean, you should probably have like 10 PR people that are doing things for you. But I know, you know, you are one of those leaders that you don't need, you know, you don't want nor do you need content writers, because your voice is what makes you who you are. And so it's, you really, you know, I know you would never say this about yourself, so I want to say that about you, is that it's the, and I take that feather, by the way, and I put it in my hat, because I'm emulating that in what I'm doing. I'm remembering, no matter how big or what I'm doing, to have it be my content and be my voice, and I think that's just really important to being genuine to yourself.
Yes.
So,
I have a saying.
Yes.
We need to own our voice.
Yes.
We need to own our influence, and we just need to own it.
That's it.
You do a great job of that.
Oh, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Unbelievable information. I know you're going to continue to impress us in the years ahead. This was another wonderful episode of Power Women with Class. Marcia Davies, COO, founder of mPower. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Christine.
It's Christine Beckwith with Mortgage News Network. Thank you.
The American dream lives on for homeowners all across the country. At Class Valuation, we help lenders get more borrowers into the home of their dreams. Through innovation designed to reduce turn times and ensure accuracy, we help lenders exceed borrower expectations, so that American dream lives on.
This is Mortgage News Network.